Hey, welcome to my so-called podcast. I'm Eric Spiegel.
I'm Gary Linton.
And I'm Michelle Horowitz.
Yeah, that's right. We got a guest.
We do.
Deal with it, America. We have a guest, and we're proud of it. We are my so-called podcast. We are a podcast where we go back to a week in the 90s where an album and a movie came out at the same time-ish.
That's right, Eric. This week we are going back to July 32nd.
1995.
1995. Thanks.
Again, Gary, I'm impressed with your prep. Amazing. You'd think you could start with 1990 for the year, considering I just told you what the podcast was about.
Yeah, that confused me. I wasn't ready for that. So
okay.
You threw
it's a
curveball.
90s podcast.
Okay, so we're going back to October.
Oh my goodness. Now your listening skills.
Yeah.
Come on, up your game.
All right, July
1995.
95.
He has missed
19
days.
times.
Okay.
All right.
That's where we're going back to.
Okay.
We do have a guest, Michelle. Who are you?
Michelle Horowitz.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Michelle, how old were you in 1995?
I was 9.
Oh my goodness.
Gross. How old were you, Gary?
In 1995, I would have been 17
Yeah, 17. So about to go into senior year of high school.
Yeah.
It was between junior and senior
95,
year.
96 was
And you were,
year.
Michelle, you were gearing up for 4th grade.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Okay.
right.
So-
Miss Lewis's class.
Slightly different worlds.
Yeah.
Michelle, I have here that you're a comedy nerd in my notes. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Tell us about that.
I'm just really into comedy. I started listening to a lot of comedy podcasts, and including the Comedy Cellar podcast, and then asked if I could be like an intern at the Comedy Cellar.
Were you living in New York?
I was living in New York.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I lived in New York for 8 years after I went to undergraduate school in upstate New York.
Uh-huh.
But I was born in Denver and grew up in Denver. And then when this movie came out, I remember my dad, my sister, and my dad's sister, so my Aunt Jane, we were all in Chicago because I had grandparents that were there. And we all went out to dinner. And then my Aunt Jane, who happens to be a movie critic.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
For what?
Her column is called The Family Film Goer.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's syndicated. It's in Washington Post and a number of other papers, like in... she covers like theater and movies in the like Maryland, D.C. area.
Right.
At the time, we were
Just
all...
like my aunt,
Yeah?
who makes crafts out of wood and clothespins and such, and then hot glues them together.
Those are
So
just
similar
exactly
to your
the
aunt,
same.
who's a film
Exactly the
critic.
same.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder if they know each other. Maybe they see each other at the movies.
I feel like the hot glue clothespin circle is somewhat different than the film critic Washington, D.C. circle, but I'm not in the business.
Well, and I kind of tease my aunt about this, but like she's the family film goer, so she evaluates like movies for kids and like kind of breaks down what does the R rating really mean? You know what?
Nothing.
Right. But she never had kids.
Yeah.
She never had kids, but she had lots of nieces and nephews.
Oh, that's really
So she went to take my sister to see this film, and I threw such a temper tantrum because I really wanted to go.
How old was your sister?
She was
8 years older than me. So I guess
well,
9
she was
plus
ready.
8. Yeah.
She was almost Cher's age.
Horowitz.
Wow, that's really interesting.
well,
Cher
Cher's
Horowitz
15.
is one of the greatest character names.
Oh, yeah.
And my last name's
yeah.
Horowitz, so we're just missing an O.
Right.
And we didn't pay for the extra one when we immigrated. Too cheap.
Oh, Ellis Island.
It's an old Horowitz joke.
Passed down
It's
from
an old Horowitz joke.
It's
Passed
true.
down from the shtetl. So
I don't
anyway,
think we've,
you threw a tantrum. This is good stuff.
Can we introduce that we are talking about Clueless?
It's possible.
Okay.
This week, July 19th,
1995.
Clueless came out, and
Yep.
interestingly enough, so did its soundtrack. So
Was it
we're
the
going to
same
review
week?
both. Yeah, I think the soundtrack came out maybe 5-6 days beforehand.
Sure.
As we've visited on this podcast, albums are a Tuesday thing.
Yep.
Movies are a more of a Friday thing, although this movie did open on a Wednesday,
Oh, okay.
the 19th. But anyway, that's Clueless, and the Clueless soundtrack is the theme of this Horowitz episode.
No relation.
So you threw a tantrum? Is that the end of the story?
Then they got to go see it, but now I have this memory of being in a theater and watching it with Aunt Jean and my sister, and I'm very confused. But I also
Memory.
remember watching it in my friend's basement and being like, "Oh, now I finally get to see this movie that my aunt had evaluated. I was not old enough to see."
I don't think you were old enough to see it at 9.
Yeah. I don't... Yeah.
I didn't remember a lot of the jokes.
Well, we'll
Till
get
later.
back to that. But, yeah. I mean, it's a sweet movie, but it's not for 9-year-olds.
No.
So 1995. You were 9. We were cool.
I was not cool in 95.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Strike that. I had the opportunity to be cool being 17. I
Right.
squandered that opportunity throughout my entire teen years.
Yep.
But there were some things going on. There was entertainment, sports, news, etc.
Those categories all set.
And to get you in the mood for that, we should do some trivia. Now
Okay.
it's tied.
Yep.
We play to 20 correct answers, Michelle, and it's tied. So if we tie today, it's still tied. Whoever wins today wins, and the other one buys the other one some sort of a steak. Because we thought
To
this would be
eat.
more interesting with steaks. Because otherwise
It
it'd be
is.
kind of boring, right?
Yeah.
So way more interesting.
And Gary won last time. He got a big mound of steaks.
That's right. That's true.
So this is like basically
This is round 2.
episode 7, Game of Thrones, Sunday night. This is it right here, right? Am I wrong?
A little. You're a little wrong.
Oh, okay.
But okay.
All right. Gary,
Yep.
since you were ahead, it's tied, but you were ahead before. I'll ask first.
Okay.
Michelle, you can help both of us.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah. That's
you
a
could
fair-
sabotage both of us, or one of us, or you could help both of us. It's up to you.
Well, the
it's in your
sabotaging,
hands.
whether or not I'm a help or a hindrance, will be at your own discretion.
Well, I would say probably hindrance. 9-year-olds don't know what the hell's going
You're
on.
gonna be like,
Unless
I
there's
remember that.
crayon-based questions or questions about the bridge to Terabithia.
Number the stars.
I'm thinking that you're not going to help, but you never know. You never know. Gary,
Yep.
what movie did Hormel attempt to suppress because of a pirate pig puppet named Spam?
What film? Okay, a pirate pig puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any films with a pirate pig puppet? In
Pirate
1995.
Pig puppet. 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Babe?
See, I was thinking Babe at first, but I don't think Babe had.
A
Yeah,
pirate?
yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Let's go with Babe.
That is wrong.
Yeah,
Babe did come out in 1995. I
that's
believe.
when you first.
I
said-
would have watched it because I.
You were 9, yeah. It's rated G. It was nominated for Best Picture in
And that's
1995.
Great
where my
film.
head was when
Babe and
My aunt-
Braveheart nominated in the same
Auntie
year.
Jane sent it to me.
Babe is
She loved
a
it.
classic.
Yeah, that'll do, pig.
That'll do.
However, the answer is Muppet Treasure Island, which came out in 1995, which did have Spam the pirate pig puppet.
I never did see. I enjoy the Muppets. I saw the Muppet movie, the Great Muppet Caper, Muppet Steak Manhattan, Muppet Christmas Carol.
Muppet
Yep.
Show Tonight. I guess that was older.
Did you
Yep.
see the Jason Segel Muppets?
I have.
I
That's
saw that.
really
That's
funny.
good. I haven't seen Muppets Most Wanted
So-
or Muppet Treasure Island.
So it seems like you are doing the correct thing in both cases.
Okay.
I haven't seen Muppets Most Wanted, but it's reviled.
Yeah.
And Muppet Treasure Island is like watching paint dry on Muppets. It's really not
Hey, who
good.
painted those Muppets?
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah.
It's still boring.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question because I got that one wrong. I'd still ask it anyway. What Simpsons character
Oh, I
popped,
like the way this starts
Yeah.
already.
popped a cap in Homer's boss, Montgomery Burns?
Oh, Maggie Simpson.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is correct.
That's who shot Mr. Burns.
Spoilers.
That's right.
Yeah, spoiler for a bad episode of The Simpsons from 1995.
The first half wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And even the second half, it was just the resolution.
The resolution's
Yeah.
dumb. Yeah. It's
we
better
got the-
than Who Shot JR, which I bet you don't know what that means.
No.
Yeah.
We got that good
You're
joke
welcome.
from the
No, I predicted that.
Troy McClure. In order to, they animated a bunch of different people shooting Mr. Burns.
Everybody had a motive. That was my favorite part about the episode leading into it, was like how they set it up where every single person in
Yep.
the world had
Yep.
like a really good motive to kill him.
Well, it was Mr. Burns, so it probably wasn't that hard to set up, right?
No.
Right. No, it wasn't. But like, you know, like Marge and like Grandpa
Yeah, right,
don't want to kill him
right.
normally. Okay. What Broadway musical, Gary,
Yeah.
had gone through 2,488 pounds of yak hair by 1995?
Can I guess? You lived in New
Cats?
York. I'm thinking Cats also. I want to do Cats.
That's correct.
All right.
Cats.
Hey, I am a help.
You
That's
are.
a lot of
Except
yak hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other question is, would you rather have to dispose of 2 tons of yak hair or sit through Cats once?
Memories, right?
Oh my god.
one?
I went to see Cats as a youth. I would say I was maybe 15, 16. And I was thinking like, oh, they sang a song, they're cats. And they sang another song, they're cats. And now the story's gonna start. But they just keep singing songs. Like there's no talking. It's just
I never
cats
saw it.
singing
But I
for
remember
3
wanting
hours.
to.
Oh,
but
well,
Elizabeth got to, and I didn't.
stay there. She lost
This
it.
podcast is
be
going
the theme of
to
Hey, welcome to Elizabeth Sucks the Life Out of Michelle, the podcast.
But I did get a little music box, and that's what they played. That Memories song, isn't it? Isn't that in that? Yeah.
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 I just remember David Letterman
I know.
making fun of Cats a lot.
Oh, how never was there ever
I'm going to ask you a
cat
question
so
now.
clever as magical Mr. Mistopheles. Go ahead.
What southern U.S. state waited until 1995 to ratify the amendment abolishing slavery?
Alabama.
Missouri.
Missouri's not a southern state. I take
a
a
border
piss at
state.
that.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Alabama.
Oh, no, Mississippi.
It's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, well, it's 50-50.
Okay, both of those backwards podunk states. Sorry to any listeners that live in Alabama and Mississippi. We love you.
Sometimes
For you.
Florida is like the wild one.
Come on back. Florida's a weird mixture of like vibrant, Cuban, interesting, and like
But like, I feel like
national park alligators
Well, it
and
depends
deep
on where-
south
the vast
scary
majority of like
southness.
strange news headlines are like invariably out of Florida.
And
Yeah.
retired Jewish people and
Yeah, but
Tourists.
there's different parts of Florida. That's
Harry
the thing.
Potter. Walt
Harry Potter
Disney.
lives in, yeah.
Okay, Gary. What Appalachian state jump-started the International Towing and Recovery Hall of Fame Museum?
Ooh, what Appalachian state? Jump started?
I think that's a
play.
it's a towing.
Right. I getcha. You have a guess?
So what are the Appalachian states? Like Virginia?
Kentucky, yeah, Virginia.
West
West
Virginia,
yeah.
Mountain Mama.
Well,
It's
there's
Carolina.
lots of a lot of different Hall of Fames are in New York.
Okay.
Aside from the baseball one.
That's not Appalachia.
But it's
No.
not Appalachia.
No. New York
Does
is
any of
the,
those states border New York? that would be how I would guess.
Do you
What's
want
closest
Which
to
means
New
I'm
York?
totally clueless.
Yeah. Clueless. That's the thing. Oh.
whatever?
As if.
I'm going to go with Kentucky.
Oh, so close. It's
Tennessee.
I actually drive past this unimpressive Hall of Fame on my way. There's a place in Tennessee and Chattanooga called Ruby Falls, and our daughter's name is Ruby. So
And
we
she's
like
very clumsy,
on.
so she falls a lot.
Did
Right.
she have a nice trip?
Ah.
And I will
See you next
autumn. No, we always go there because it's cool. There's a neat cave waterfall that's like 10 stories up, but you have to get to it through a cave. So it's neat, but it's also good for her to get a Ruby Falls t-shirt when we're driving through. But anyway, you got to drive off the interstate to get there, and then on your way back to the interstate, you drive by the rather unimpressive International Towing Museum.
Tennessee.
Awesome.
Okay.
I feel like that's definitely a place my dad would stop at.
Yeah. He would jumpstart your vacation by going to the towing museum.
Our car, when I was driving for college, broke down in the 8 hours out of Denver and 8 hours to our first destination, Kansas.
So did you
lot of
just
long
walk
distance
back to your
driving.
house?
Yeah, no, we bought a van on the spot at some gas station.
That sounds like a good saga.
Eric, I got one
So
last
wait,
question.
did you get
too.
one right?
I have one right.
And I got one right.
Yeah.
If I get this right,
Yeah,
I
owe you
win
a
the
steak.
stakes.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
you didn't
God.
give me a very good card. I'm looking for one that's
Medium.
pop culture related.
Well,
So I don't have one. I already gave you my Simpsons one.
yeah, I got that
So
one right.
we're saying what graphics group acquired WordPerfect, Quattro Pro, and Novell's Perfect Office to get into the booming Office Suite business? Yeah,
That is a
Easy.
mouthful.
yeah.
What is it?
What graphics group?
Microsoft.
You think it's a Microsoft? Ask me again.
Okay. What graphics group acquired
Come on, 9-year-old Michelle.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
WordPerfect.
WordPerfect.
Quattro Pro
Uh-huh.
and Novell's Perfect Office to get into the booming Office Suite business.
Okay, then maybe it's not Microsoft.
Right.
Adobe?
Adobe? Really?
I don't know.
I guess you could just say Apple, because Apple didn't have the processor stuff. It didn't have software.
Well,
So to compensate for that, to get into the market, didn't they have to create software? WordPerfect was their word processor, right?
Okay, no.
Not Word, but WordPerfect, wasn't it?
Okay, fine.
Am I convincing
Apple.
you? I don't mean
Okay,
We'll say Apple.
to. Uh-oh.
you're wrong.
What is it?
It is Coriel.
What?
Coriel.
Spell that.
Corel.
I don't know what that is.
That's they did. Yeah, they're a company.
So
they're not
that-
really around.
I don't really feel bad about that because I would have never gotten it.
No.
Okay,
I'm
so
just
we're
glad I
tied
didn't
still.
convince you
Man,
that.
drama.
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 All right.
All right.
So we're gonna
Gary?
go ahead and talk about what singles were shooting up the charts
They were rocking it up the chart.
the week that
Blazing up the headphones of teens from coast to
This is
coast.
the week that the Clueless soundtrack was released.
So you could listen to the radio and you'd hear these songs, or you could buy the Clueless soundtrack. Those are your choices.
Right, and so here are the.
And you can record really fast if you waited for your song on the radio.
That's right,
You just-
and
Yeah.
DJs would be talking over the intro, and you're like,
Right.
"Shut up, DJ!"
I don't want to hear about this contest for free pizza.
Exactly. That free pizza was delish. Number 10 was the Runaround by Blues Traveler.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was on the radio a lot.
it
At
was.
summer camp, we'd go out to Red Rocks and see them every 4th of July. Counselors would go.
Oh.
And then I got to be a
Wait,
counselor.
wait. What?
A summer camp in Denver. I grew up in
Every
Denver.
summer, Blues Traveler played Red Rocks?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
still do, I think. Yeah, they still do.
Okay. There's still Blues Traveler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think John Popper is still
Poppin'.
going around playing that harmonica.
Yeah.
Number 9 that week was Scream by Michael and Janet Jackson.
At the time, the most expensive.
R.I.P.
At the time, the most expensive video ever made.
Right, today's his birthday. That
Oh.
tells you when we're recording.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Rest in peace.
Number 8, Bombastic by Shaggy.
Do
Do you remember
That
all these
one?
songs?
It's a bombastic,
fantastic.
fantastic. I don't know. I get all the Shaggy mixed up.
Yeah.
Here come the hot step.
Number 7 that week was I Can Love You Like That, All for One.
I can love you like that. I can give you my heart. I don't know the
No.
world.
Yeah. Alright, I guess I don't know the words either.
Number 6 that week was Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
By Marlon Brando and Faye Dunaway.
No, by Brian Adams.
Oh yeah, from the album by Marlon Brando and Faye Dunaway.
Nope.
Oh wait, from the film starring Marlon Brando.
Yeah,
and
there
Faye
you
Dunaway.
go. There you go. Number 5 was Total Eclipse of the Heart by Nikki French.
Well timed.
Well, that's a remake though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Hey,
really?
she remade it. I guess.
Turn around.
Living now and then, get a little bit hungry.
Number 4 that week. This title doesn't really make sense. Water Runs Dry by Boys to Men. We're
Let's
talking
don't
water.
wait till the water
I mean,
runs
waters
dry.
don't run dry. I mean, it's water. The
And
river could run
the
dry.
biggest mistake of our lives. That's the one where they're walking around in the desert and they have like the linen suits that are kind of blowing the wind.
Okay. Number 3 that week is Don't Take It Personal by Monica.
Personally, Monica, come
Ah.
on.
It just
Monica
says-
from the duet Monica?
From Friends.
You mean the Brandy Monica?
Yeah, the
duet?
Brandy
Yeah.
Monica
My boy
duet.
or whatever.
The boy is mine.
Yeah, that's the same Monica.
Yep.
But this is like a year before that or two.
Okay.
No, don't take it personal. That's all it says. But you're saying it's personally. That's cut off on there.
Well, I'm just correcting your grammar.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Four
like it.
Monicas.
Yeah, it's Monica's grammar that you're correcting.
I feel like if Monica were on Twitter, she'd use the wrong your.
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
Fair.
you are Monica. Don't take it personally.
Number 2 that week was One More Chance by Notorious B.I.G.
No.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Yeah. Life after death.
And then number 1 that week, ooh, on the TLC
Woo!
tip.
TLC.
Waterfalls by
Ooh,
TLC.
on the
R.I.P.
TLC tip.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Left Eye Lopez.
Left Eye Lopez. You think they should do Waterfalls, Run Dry, Boys to Men, TLC, mashup?
Yeah. Don't go chasing water once dry.
Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to.
You gotta get that water runs right. It'd be like, don't go chasing waterfalls. Let's wait till the water runs dry.
It's a good mashup. So that's the
That's-
what that was going on
That's
when
tricky.
Clueless was released.
I guess you have to know both songs to do that.
Right. And you have to have a huge brain.
Eric, put your brain away.
Okay. Click.
There you go. It's in a jar.
Work there.
That's good stuff.
Okay, so that means I'm the either or. We introduced the album with an either or. Gary, we've done 3 soundtracks now. Michelle, you have to answer the question. So, soundtracks fit into a lot of different categories. Obviously, there's scores, which is orchestral music. We'll throw that off the table.
Score.
There's soundtracks that are mostly one artist, like your Harold and Maude's, your Magnolia, sure. There's others. There's some where
The Graduate, just to bring that up.
The Graduate.
Yeah.
Where the soundtrack appears to be songs chosen very, very specifically by the auteur, a la Baby Driver, Pulp Fiction, things like that.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Wait, so there's the auteur is like that's
the filmmaker. Filmmaker picked the songs to drive the plot to stage.
Is it always
the
the
scene.
filmmaker, or is there an actual like person who's like just picks the right song for the right moment?
Well, I think
because I would love to be that
both
person.
things happen. But I think there are times where it's definitely the filmmaker that chose the music. I think you're right. Guardians of the Galaxy, Pulp Fiction, Baby Driver for sure. And then there's soundtracks where they shove a bunch of popular music of the day from a recording artists that are popular or upcoming or whatever, and then they try to fit it into the movie and sell the soundtrack at the same time. Either this movie is the column A, where Amy Heckerling, the director, picked the songs and they fit with the movie well. They fit into the movie. It was artistic choice, or it was more of she's shoehorning in these famous artists into the film. What do you think?
I think it's probably both.
That's the best either or.
Explain yourself.
I think most of the songs were probably crafted, like when they're driving and they're trying to, I guess it's when Paul Rudd and his girlfriend,
when they go pick up Alicia Silverstone after the mugging. That's the Counting Crows song that's playing on his stereo. So diegetic music. It's like
but how she refers to it later is Maudlin College radio station.
Complaint rock, she calls it.
The college radio.
She called Radiohead complaint rock when he was in listening to Fake Plastic Trees and looking in the refrigerator. She was like, so both those songs are diegetic. They're things Paul Rudd's character are listening to.
I guess you're right. She did comment on it, but like Fake Plastic Trees wasn't. Like, where was that coming from?
The stereo.
Oh, okay. So,
it's a rich person's house.
You're right. You go on.
I think it was diegetic.
Yeah,
he was listening to it.
You're right. She commented on it.
If she hadn't commented on it, it would have been non-diegetic.
Yeah,
I think.
I get it. So,
but I think since she commented on it, they were listening to it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So anyway, go ahead. There are times where it's that music.
Like that. And then there's All the Young Dudes, which is perfect for what she's describing. I don't want to be a traitor to my generation, but we're all expected to swoon. Or she goes on that whole...
No, I agree with you that probably...
But the boys' clothes.
Yeah.
You get the feeling.
And they cover it up with a backwards cap and their greasy hair. I'm getting it out all mumble-jumbled. I wish I could memorize lines like that. There were so many.
Oh, that's okay. There's a lot of people that watch Clueless enough to memorize the lines. You don't need to be that for them. But
I can chime in at certain parts of the sentence. But that's
there are times where the music fits the commentary on kid.
Well,
culture.
that one was real. I thought that was I can't imagine another song in that one. And maybe I don't know if that band was popular at the time or not.
Well, that's so not to derail you, but that's a David Bowie song written by David Bowie, performed by Mott the Hoople in the 70s. But in Clueless, it's another remake by World Party is doing that version in Clueless. And so I agree with you that Amy Heckerling, who is, I mean, she directed Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She probably
her debut film.
Yeah, so she's kind of plugged into the youth culture, but I would think the 70s is when she was a teenager, and so
you'd be right.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's probably a song that she was like, yeah, I kind of pictured this song over that scene.
I agree.
But then
she probably couldn't get the rights.
She couldn't get Mott the Hoople's version.
Or the studio said, let's have this newer band record or cover.
And that's how a lot of
and that's how I pick a lot of new songs I like, is I actually love covers.
This is all covers, like Kids in America.
Smoking Popes has a whole covers album, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to finish out their Capitol record contract.
Sure, makes sense.
So, I read a little bit about Smoking Popes. So Smoking Popes has Need You Around, which is track 8. I was pretty fascinated by them because I wasn't very aware of them at the time I'd heard the name.
Yeah, they're in a...
But I kind of fell down a little bit about a Smoking Popes
what's another soundtrack? They were on another soundtrack in the 90s.
I don't know. Okay. Mallrats?
Maybe. It's something. But Shake Some Action, track 2 on the soundtrack, is not an original Cracker song.
Oh, really?
That's done by the Flaming Groovies.
Who's that?
They're a band from the 70s. Okay. And then the Ghost...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, The Ghost in You is not Counting Crows. That's Psychedelic Furs, which is the early 80s.
Although I think the Counting Crows did cover that in concert.
Sure.
So that wasn't Amy Heckerling's doing. Because if you look at the expanded August and Everything After, it does have The Ghost in You live on it.
And then even not on the soundtrack, but I guess if we're talking about it in the movie, is Jules' version of Jules sings All By Myself. That's
Jewel.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of 70s covers. Yeah. So that's Amy Heckerling's doing. But she doesn't go full Quentin Tarantino with the, it's just going to be Jungle Boogie, you know?
Right, yeah.
By Kool and the Gang over the opening credits. It's just going to be whatever thing I want at this point. So maybe she doesn't have as much control as she could.
Well, yeah, she didn't have the power when she was doing Clueless. But I gotta say, this soundtrack is awfully 90s.
Oh, it's so 90s. Yeah. But it's such a nice, I think, to begin with. So I almost bought this soundtrack. My anecdote about this soundtrack is short.
Okay.
I saw this movie in the theater.
Already too long.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Such a long anecdote.
It wasn't that long.
Come on.
I was listening.
I saw this movie in the theater.
It said it was going to be short. Okay, saw the movie in the theater.
I saw this movie in the theater. When she comes in and makes fun of his complaint rock was the first time I'd ever heard Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead. And I was so distracted by how much I liked that song. I couldn't pay attention for 20 minutes in the movie. And then whenever I left the movie, we went to CD Warehouse, and I had to decide between the Clueless soundtrack, which did have some interesting stuff on it.
Oh, it's a good soundtrack.
And getting the Benz, which had Fake Plastic Trees, but not this version. So I wasn't I don't know if I'll like the original version. I was like, ugh. Anyway, I bought the Benz, which was a nice choice.
Is this anecdote over yet? Oh my goodness.
The point being,
almost.
It's got some great songs on it. Including that, but there's no cohesion. It's just a sampling of everything.
It's everything.
You got that was popular at the time.
New wave ska, You got your hip hop and Coolio. You got your Beastie Boys also.
You got your Lilith Fair with Jill Sobule and Luscious Jackson. You got your Potheads with World Party.
You got your Britpop with Supergrass.
Well, and Lightning Seeds.
Yep, that's right. And you got your adult contemporary alt rock Cracker and Counting Crows, maybe.
Right, and you got your crappy band with the Muffs
doing Kids in America.
I have honestly, I listened to this many times. Oh, and you got the worst song by the Beastie Boys in the history of the Beastie Boys by Mullethead.
That is kind of funny because my buddy Scott, he was a pretty big skater and big fan of the Beastie Boys, and he had a CD of the Beastie Boys where it was just the music, and it's great if you just listen to the music.
That would be interesting.
It's a great song. And then when we discovered,
wait, you're saying Mullethead is good without singing?
Yes, it's just
I don't believe that.
No,
it's bad.
Instrumental?
It's really, really bad.
No, just as an instrumental, it's a pretty good. I mean,
okay,
it's. I guess it's nothing.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, but the lyrics are horrible.
It's not a good song,
right?
But the Supergrass song, the Lightning Seed song, the Boss Tones song, for what it is as a nostalgia track. Radiohead, I don't need another album with plastic trees on it, but,
That's a good version, the acoustic version.
Luscious Jackson, maybe want to, jump back into the Luscious Jackson album for a different podcast. I like that.
Yeah.
That song's a lot more 70s than I remember them being. That's it almost reminded me of Groove is in the Heart.
Well, right.
Which is a disco influence song.
That was Luscious Jackson for you.
You thought they were disco?
Yeah, they had that, because even that, what was their big hit?
Naked Eye was their big hit, which I didn't think they're sort of related to the Beastie Boys in,
the
same
drummer of Luscious Jackson played with the Beastie Boys when they were a punk band before they became hip-hop.
But I don't think you listen to Luscious Jackson and you're like, oh yeah, this is sort of like the Beastie Boys. But I don't think I would say they're all disco. Anyway, we'll save that for a different podcast. I don't think Naked Eye sounds disco.
Okay, that's fine. If you don't, you don't. You know what? You can.
Don't, Gary.
Fine,
Get the hell off my back. Okay, can we get around to the Smoking Popes? What do you think of that song?
It's fine.
We know what Michelle thinks about it. She hasn't heard it.
Yeah.
But it's like Dean Martin-ish crooner singing to punk rock. And so it's a dichotomy, which is really interesting to me because the Boss Tones are on here, which is the resurgence of ska.
Right. Well, and we even had in the 90s, we had the Squirrel Nut Zippers.
But that was later. That's the point I'm trying to make is we had...
You're trying to make a point?
The Boss Tones are on this album and the Smoking Popes are on this album. But this was a year before the theatrical release... year and a half before the theatrical release of Swingers, which I think of as the big turning point in Squirrel Nut Zippers, Cherry Poppin' Daddies, all of that stuff, right?
Brian Setzer
Orchestra.
Nice. But that was a couple of years later, so it was really kind of on the cutting edge of what was going to be popular. And I kind of like this Smoking Popes song. What do you think of it?
Swingers, it's a good song. It's fine.
It's fun.
It's fine.
It's almost like it's more fun as a concept. Are you okay over there?
I was pouring beer.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's more fun as a concept than it is. It comes across as I would listen to more of their stuff, but I can understand why they never got huge because it's sort of a gimmick.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh, Gary, screw you.
Okay. I mean,
you're whatever.
I don't.
You're supposed to say yes and. Do you not know the rules of this?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know.
You're like, okay.
You're the one who said you went
yeah.
down a big smoking post. I didn't go down that rabbit hole.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
I enjoyed it, and I didn't know them very well.
Play a
so.
little clip.
I had this album, this Clueless soundtrack.
Play Need You Around.
I'm playing it. Oh, the music's down. I don't know how to work my phone.
So it's like punk until he sings. Very punk.
Yeah,
They're
it's
from
punk.
Chicago.
Oh. So they were hanging around with Liz Phair and William Corrigan.
Probably.
Yeah. He wants to be called William now.
Oh, William Corrigan. Let me introduce you to Lawrence Fishburne.
Exactly.
So is this when they're at the concert?
No, Mighty Mighty
It's
Boston
supposed to be-
Adult.
That's the
That's
Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
So when is this happening? Skateboarding? No.
No, that's
Maybe.
Mullet Head. Mullet Head
No, it
skateboarding.
wasn't. Yeah.
Because the way he sings is more Frank Sinatra. No.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the end? No.
Because he doesn't sing like Billy Corgan. I mean, doesn't sing
William.
like Billy Armstrong.
William Corgan.
William Armstrong.
No, it's...
Neil Armstrong.
Oh, you're so messed up, man.
Billy Joe Armstrong
Yeah,
is what I'm
exactly.
saying. He doesn't scream into the mic. He does a crooning thing,
Right.
which is their...
But that's also Urge Overkill kind of did that with in Chicago.
But they're not a punk.
No, but they were
Aesthetic.
in Chicago.
Anyway, I think it's a nice mid-90s
You
slice
mean
of
the
life.
band Chicago.
No. Right. It's like that song from The Karate Kid Part 2 by
That's-
Peter Cetera.
It's there, yeah. It's solo.
Anyway, I think my answer to this either or is I do think it comes across as a corporate radio record label way to push forward a lot of bands. And also to sell a lot of soundtrack CDs because back then that's what people did. They did buy a lot of soundtrack CDs. I don't know if you had CDs when you were 9.
Just like one.
What was it?
Spice Girls.
Raffy? Spice World?
Spice World.
Oh, I did love Raffy. Not Spice World.
Jingle
It was like their
Lay-O.
the first one.
Come, little donkey, come.
But I remember trying to pick a cassette tape first. Really,
Yeah.
I had a single of Mariah Carey's "Butterfly,"
Uh-huh.
and
That's not
And-
a very good song.
TLC's "Unpretty."
Oh, that's from the Waterfalls album. No. It's from the No Scrubs album.
No Scrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had "Unpretty," and
So you had some singles
yeah.
before you had CDs.
I didn't. I just found it. I found the $17
Yeah.
investment so painful. For
Exactly.
So I would do
It
the
was
whole
quite an
recording.
investment, and that's the thing about a soundtrack that had a lot of different artists
Yeah.
and maybe a few songs you liked.
More
It was
bang
like
for the buck.
maybe a value. You never know. And this soundtrack was very popular. And I was thinking about a new teen movie, The Edge of 17, that came out last fall, which was a somewhat similar teen movie, and we'll get into this in the second half. But it did have a soundtrack. It was released on CD and Spotify and whatever, and it had like Santa Gold, and it had Mike Snow, and it had a lot of the current artists on it. But it's a non-entity. Whereas, like, you might have run into the
I
Clueless
love
soundtrack
stuff.
in a lot of people's cars in 1995 because in the CD buying world, it was a kind of a thing to expose yourself to new artists and also like
There was
listen
a lot
to
of
the songs
merchandising around Clueless, though.
and kind of remember the part of the movie that the song
Yeah,
played in and like look at the pictures and the thing that came with the CD
and try and dress like them.
Yeah, I totally dressed like Cher Horowitz
I
every
I
day.
was shocked at how much. I guess this goes in the later half.
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't say anything yet.
Ooh, a teaser.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
I'm trying to think anything more music soundtrack.
What's your favorite movie soundtrack of all time?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Gary?
Exactly. Maybe Pulp Fiction. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So.
Reservoir Dogs is also good.
Yeah.
But what about Ghostbusters 1? Cleaning up the town. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No?
Nope.
Ghostbusters 2?
Yeah, Bobby Brown.
How they call
yeah.
Vigo, the master of evil. Try to rattle my boys? That's not legal. Oh, you know it.
It's his
you know
prerogative.
Oh, well, I guess we're gonna have to take
I like how Bobby Brown has a
home.
cameo in the second Ghostbusters as the valet.
Yeah. He's like, I'll give you my latest single, but I need to be in Ghostbusters
right.
too. I'm Bobby Brown. Damn it.
Yep.
Anyway, back to you. Dirty Dancing, the year of your birth, in the year of our Lord, Michelle.
I don't remember the soundtrack to that.
Like bad soundtrack.
What would be in your teen years? Oh, Titanic. That was a huge
That
soundtrack.
was the first one I was thinking of.
That's all score in one song. That doesn't count. That's not the
Yeah,
same
that was like
deal.
one
No.
That's
song.
all James Horner. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Really?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That
So
broke my
sad.
heart. Yeah.
We would get a lot of different... Well, I remember spending most of my middle school years and teens getting the Grammy album soundtracks.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
like,
That's a good value right
Yeah.
there. That's a good
Exactly.
$18 value.
Yeah.
All of the best song nominees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so 4 stars would be like up there, maybe in your top echelon of soundtrack recordings. 3 stars would be like, there's a handful of good songs on this CD. I would pay $14 for it. 2 stars is like, I would record maybe 3 or 4 of these off the radio, but otherwise just watch the movie. 1 star is like, ugh. Why do they use these songs? They could have used the actual 70s songs.
Oh, you know what? Singles. Maybe my favorite.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, good, Gary.
Yep.
Nice work.
When was I Am Sam?
Oh, yeah, that's a good soundtrack.
Because that I loved
2000.
every track.
It doesn't
It's all
matter.
covers.
It doesn't matter when it was. It could still be your favorite soundtrack.
Oh, right. It
when
was
you
all
were
time.
alive
Yeah.
is when it was.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect. And that's the one.
Well, how many stars would you give this soundtrack, Michelle? Given that you haven't listened to it. But you have heard the songs
Yeah.
during the movie.
I'm totally going to listen to the soundtrack now.
Oh, it's worth your time. I think it's worth 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I'd probably give it 5 stars.
Okay, good.
Well,
Out
you
of 4.
broke the scale.
Oh, why did you do 4?
4.
got-
That's a classic star
Really?
system. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nuh-uh.
But you can give it 5. I don't give a shit.
it's
5
okay.
stars. Everything's 5 stars. It's a Likert scale of everything.
Right, I know. But I'm more of an Ebert classical kind of a guy. Gary?
I'm giving it 3 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
3.5 from me.
Yeah, it
3.5.
could maybe.
I think it's quite good.
It's really good. You should listen to it.
You put this on at a party, you skip the Muffs song, people are gonna be like,
It's like
true.
Kids in
This
America.
reminds
Not
me
even
of
their song.
stuff.
That's a more, that was a more famous song in the 80s.
But it reminds you of Clueless.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, okay. But I say, if you have people in their 30s and you put this soundtrack on, you're gonna have a good time. There's
It's a
not a lot of
total
filler.
karaoke perfect.
Yeah. I mean, the one that I would skip would be that Muff song, and I would also skip the Beastie Boys song. But otherwise, it's fun. I like it.
All right.
3.5. Good soundtrack.
Good. Yeah. All right.
It's corporate soundtrack all the way, but it's
It
as
works.
good as
it
that
works.
kind of
It
thing
works. Yeah.
can get.
Yeah.
Gary, take
Yep.
us to the break.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll discuss the movie Clueless. All right. Thanks. That's what you wanted me to play to take it to the break?
Shut up.
Okay.
When I got home and realized I wasn't on sight, where I was by the window wondering where did you go? Couldn't eat or sleep
Welcome back to My So-Called Podcast. I'm Gary Linton.
And I'm Eric Spiegel.
And I'm Michelle Horowitz.
Woo! All right. We just finished talking about the Clueless soundtrack, and now we're going to talk about the movie. What movie? What movie are we talking about?
Clueless.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Despite Michelle's best efforts to turn it into an Emma podcast.
That's true. Actually, I've done really good not doing that yet, but now I guess it's time.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Fine. Why are we going back to those two things?
Oh, because we're a podcast that goes back and talk about a movie and an album in the 90s.
And where specifically are we
We're going
this
back
week?
to, I believe it was January?
July.
Starting with a J.
Yeah, 57th. 19th? Oh, okay, July
Right?
19th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I got it!
All right. 1985. 95. Okay.
Gary, you just lost your job.
Yeah.
as the
Okay.
Michelle, you just won a free trip to my basement.
Podcast country.
Oh, goodness. Well, so Clueless. You know, that sure is a movie. And you know what else is a movie?
No, Eric, what else is a movie?
The other movies that were out that week.
Well, did this hit like top of, how did it
Top of the
gross?
Pops?
Yeah, like what was the, when
It's
it,
pretty gross.
That is a great question.
isn't that a question?
Yeah.
So if we went to the Cinemaplex
Okay.
on July 19th, we had our choice
July
of
19th?
movies.
That's the day we were talking about?
Number 10, if you wanted to catch up on the movie of the summer and you
Catch up?
hadn't
Pulp
seen
Fiction?
it
It's
yet,
Pulp Fiction.
you go see Batman Forever.
Oh.
If you wanted to see Sean Connery and Richard Gere fight for the love of Julia Ormond, you
First
could
Night.
go see First Night.
Yep.
The story of Camelot, told in the most boring way possible.
Really?
Was
Was it Camelot? She's Guinevere?
Yeah.
Lancelot and Arthur?
Yeah. If you had kids, you might have taken them to see The Indian in the Cupboard.
I loved
Number
that
8.
movie!
Yeah.
If you had kids, you might also take them to see Pocahontas, starring Vanessa Williams and Mel Gibson. Number 7. If you had kids...
Vanessa Williams wasn't the voice of Pocahontas, though. I think she just sang that song.
I still think she's Pocahontas.
Okay.
I mean, Pocahontas is the one singing.
Okay.
Number 6, if you had kids, you might have taken them to see Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home. Number 5, if you had kids, you got a sitter and went to see Species.
Oh, yeah. Natasha Henstridge?
Natasha Henstridge.
Yeah, Henstridge.
Michael Madsen.
Okay.
Ben Kingsley.
Nice.
Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, all-star
Marg
cast.
Helgenberger from CSI. And gory special effects.
Yeah, sign me up.
Number 4.
Scary.
Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. Which was... Under Siege was Die Hard on a aircraft carrier.
No, it's a boat.
A boat.
Boat.
Battleship.
Yeah.
Okay. But Under Siege 2 was Die Hard on a train for some reason. Yeah. Number 3, 9 Months, starring
Hugh Grant
floppy
and
hair.
Julianne Moore.
Yeah, and Tom Arnold, fresh off of his mainstream success in True Lies.
Yep.
I can get the
Jeff
third
Goldblum.
one. And I can get the other one. Don't say it.
Mm-hmm.
The other lady.
Lady. Joan
Go
Cusack.
ahead. Nice. Number 2, if you had kids that were older than 9, you could take them to see Clueless, which is number 2 at the box office. And holding steady for the 4th week at number 1 was previous My So-Called Podcast,
Ed Wood.
Apollo 13.
Oh.
It's a
So,
good movie.
That's a top
Yep.
10. Actually, quite a few good movies you could go see right then at the time. You could also go see number 12, The Bridges of Madison County, which I think is better than the book.
Okay.
You go see Judge Dredd, which is terrible. You go see
Why are you
Braveheart,
talking about-
which I loved back in the day, but now makes me feel bad about liking. Mel
That's
Gibson,
how I felt about Pocahontas.
homophobia, and Bad Boys, which I've never seen, but you could go see that.
Bad Boys
too.
is an entertaining movie.
Yeah,
So-
I think Bad Boys is a good My So-Called podcast. So
Yeah, sure.
file under
We've had
coming soon.
too many 1995 movies, though. We should take a break on the year 1995.
Sure. I'm not saying next week.
Eric,
dog.
we're not going to do
Dog,
Bad Boys next
I'm not
week.
saying next week. I'm
All right.
talking about.
Michelle.
But it's the bomb!
Okay. Michelle, you chose us to do Clueless, or you wanted to be on the podcast when we did Clueless, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce the movie with an either or to
Oh.
break out, start the conversation, or I can
Okay.
ask you?
What's an either or question? Just any type of either or question?
Yeah.
Like in what genre it is or what?
Well, in the best circumstances, an either-or question is a phrase that is started with the word either.
I got that far.
And then another phrase after the word or. There's a semicolon in
I
there.
thought there
Or
were-
a comma. Hold up. I'm not finished. And it's a conversation starter. Because
Okay.
the answer is generally both.
Right.
But not necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay,
to
okay.
kick off the conversation. So it can be a challenging way to look at the movie or
So it's
whatever.
not like a true or false question.
No, because
you
you
don't
know
want
the
just
answer
a
could be
one-word
both.
answer. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I
you
don't
can
wanna-
answer
you don't-
Gary's
yeah, I
either
could
or
ask
if you don't want to
one,
ask.
but I wanted to
either
throw
or.
that out since you're our
Do you guys
guest.
already have either ors in mind?
I
Gary
kinda did.
generally doesn't.
Like
I
you have
normally
one?
don't. Yeah, but I kind of do.
So can
have
I think
for-
of one later? Maybe then
If you'd
I'll
like
do
to,
it.
yeah, of course. So
I'll try.
I'll go ahead and throw mine
Yeah,
out
go
for.
ahead.
Okay, but I just want to say, if you think of one later, that is worthless. Because you're not going to be on the podcast. Because it's happening
Well,
now.
I meant like now, within the next maybe 5 minutes or so.
Okay, yeah. But you still could have missed your chance. I mean, we could pause?
All right, if it flies away, it goes away.
Okay. Good
Oh, that's
plan.
I see. This is the either or. Hard
yeah,
portion.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so
Now I get
in the '90s,
Excellent.
there were lots of teen movies of all different genres.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of town.
Really, you can maybe say that the '80s had started it, but the '90s is really kind of perfected.
Oh, well,
And-
I disagree.
Okay.
But go ahead,
Okay.
Gary.
But Clueless. Either Clueless is just another teen comedy, or it's much more than that. Is my either or.
It's so much more.
So much more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Because
Yeah.
when I think of like the teen movie genre, I'm thinking, well, I don't know. I guess you'll tell me if they're later,
No,
but I'm
it's
thinking
your
like
opinion.
She's All That.
Yep.
90s.
That would go in that.
Although, okay, go ahead.
I don't think Never Been Kissed was in
No,
the
I
90s.
wouldn't call that a teen comedy either.
That's the 90s.
It was the
Okay.
90s?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, She's All
'Cause
That.
it's kind of
What's
like-
anything with Julia Stiles?
I would go with also you got your I
And-
guess not teen comedy, but maybe even just teen
Anything
film.
with Julia Stiles, like the
Empire
third-
Records.
Jason
Right.
Bourne movie.
Empire Records, I think, was a little more better.
Okay.
I guess I'm thinking like the teen movie is like a little bit bad
Yeah.
and a little bit only
What's that?
interesting
Can't
to
hardly
tweens.
wait. Can't hardly wait.
I don't think I saw that.
Okay.
So, what was your answer?
That Clueless is so much more.
Oh, it's more than a teen movie.
Yeah.
Explain
And
yourself.
because, well, that's
Why?
because the other movies wouldn't appeal to anyone other than straight up tweens. Like
Okay.
the tweens that can't wait to be teens, so they want to see the, like, she's all that, because is that what high school is like, you know?
Okay, all right.
They're kind of like looking forward.
But why is Clueless above
It appeals
that?
to so many different age ranges.
How so?
And people, and boys, too.
Tell us more.
Did you say ant people?
And my aunt. Yeah,
say-
she loved it.
She did?
Yeah, because she saw it twice.
Did she say that, like, it was okay for the whole family, or who could
Well, she
go
didn't
see
let
it?
me go.
All right.
She took
but
my
that
sister.
was before she knew.
She already seen
But they're-
it.
Oh.
Because she sees it all ahead of time.
And rock and roll.
Gary, I didn't care what you thought. I just wanted to know what
okay.
her aunt thought, being the family film goer.
Right, the family film goer did not let me go. And I was really angry.
Yeah, I remember that story from an hour ago.
That reminds me of earlier this evening.
Yep.
Was that a part that's supposed to be nag now?
No.
It's good. So you say
You only
Michelle.
do what you want to. Stay.
that this transcends the teen comedy genre.
A lot of people would like it.
And you say because a lot of people would like it.
Of
I'm
all
going to push
ages.
you to explain why.
Yeah, because-
Why would you
I'm
say
gonna
that?
go with
Because multiple age groups, my aunt liked it. And she sees a lot of movies.
Okay, beyond your aunt.
And I heard a
I
podcast
think you're being mean to
on
our
Freakonomics
Okay.
where the economist from University of Chicago, Steve Levitt,
Mm-hmm.
he really likes it.
Mm-hmm.
And another economist, behavior economist, really liked it and then wrote a book on Jane Austen because of that
Oh.
movie.
And I think there
Oh,
you
you
go.
mentioned Jane Austen.
Yeah, that's. I think
Explain yourself.
I think that might play into why Clueless might be a little better than your average teen film because
Yes.
it's based on Emma by Jane Austen.
Yeah. Although 10 Things I Hate About You
Oh, yeah.
is based on The Taming of the Shrew, and those titles rhyme, which I think is very clever.
Yeah, yeah. 10 Things I Hate About You is a good film.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
But that's a 90s
a
movie, right? With-
I would say that falls in the tween.
That's got Keith
Thing.
Ledger in
Yeah,
it, right?
Heath
Yeah, yeah.
Ledger.
and,
Rest in peace,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Levitt.
Oh, okay.
Third Rock from the Sun.
Yep.
And Julia Stiles.
From Jason Bourne 3. The Bourne-ing.
That dance. Well, she was in that dance movie.
Don't
Save
don't
the Last Dance.
Save the Last Dance.
Save
Don't
the
dance.
Last Dance.
Yeah.
So for that second to last dance, it's cool.
Magic
But
Mike
save the last
XXL.
one. Yeah. That's the dance movie I was talking about.
Okay, so Gary, same question, dog.
Oh, what? The tables have turned.
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
Is this a teen comedy from the 90s, or does it transcend teen
I
comedy?
think it's a little of both. Oh, it is a teen comedy, but I think
I just rolled my eyes.
really hard.
for the listeners
I'm
at
sure
home.
the listener heard that.
Yeah.
That's
I rolled
how
my eyes so hard when you said it's a little bit of both that it was
It
audible.
was audible.com.
I'm glad that I could say both, and
Brought to
it
you
was-
by Audible.com.
So I think the fact that its source material is Jane Austen, kind of a timeless story, and I think Amy Heckerling, who wrote this one, she
Yeah.
didn't write Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Cameron Crowe did.
Yeah.
Although, I learned she reworked that screenplay with him.
Oh, okay.
The studio meddled quite a bit with it to make it a little more palatable, and she worked with him to make it edgier, like get it back to the source material, because she, whilst in the AFI, she went to NYU
Okay.
in film, and then
Go
moved
Bears.
then moved out to LA.
No, I don't think so.
I think Washington
That's
Bears.
And then they moved out. She moved out to LA to do the AFI, and her final movie that she made for her graduate short film was like this teenager who was 19, about to turn 20. She wanted to just lose her virginity and get it over with because it was hanging over her, and it was like her last night trying to lose her virginity, which was like her short film that she made. And so it was that film, which was well regarded once it got on the festival circuit, that got her Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And she was very young and sort of
So Fast Times was the debut, and this was what?
Maybe 15 years later.
Really?
Yeah. Because in between Fast Times at Ridgemont High, she made Johnny Dangerously.
Which is a great movie.
Is it?
It's pretty...
I mean, I really like Michael Keaton, but I've never seen it.
It's a pretty dumb, but it has a special place in my heart. So,
okay.
Yep.
It's like...
Fatal Instinct.
And then 5 years after that, she made Look Who's Talking, which is the John Travolta, Kirstie Alley with the baby with the voice of Bruce Willis
and
movie.
then Look Who's Talking Now, which is also really funny.
Look Who's Talking 2 was the sequel, which she did direct.
Yeah, no,
Look Who's Talking Now was the
third?
threequel, which
yeah.
she produced but did not direct.
First,
And then she disappeared for another 5 years and reemerged with Clueless.
Yeah.
So she's a sort of fascinating entity in the sense that she bounced from film to nothing to TV to film to
TV
nothing
since.
to TV. Well, yeah, she made some Red Oaks.
Yep.
Which is a show on Amazon that I quite like. It's an 80s sex comedy sitcom that it takes place in a country club in the 80s with the teenage employees that work there. It's actually quite good. Mm-hmm. It's got Paul Reiser as the owner of the country club. I really like it. What's his bucket? David Gordon Green produced that show.
All the Real Girls.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to
Clueless,
Amy
1995.
Heckerling. She has a weird career. She has these weird movies every 5 years where she sort of pops up and becomes really
good.
prescient. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. And even because there were 2 times I can remember in my adulthood where I've gone back to watch it.
Yeah.
This was the second time, and the first time was when I went on this Jane Austen kick because I had heard that Freakonomics episode, and then I was like, well, I guess I better listen to Jane Austen. So I did the entire Jane Austen canon.
Okay. You listen?
Just
you mean
so I could
Audible.com,
read,
Jane
Audible,
Austen?
Audible.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it was dead end job and nothing to do but time to listen.
All right. This isn't therapy.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying you're into Jane Austen.
Yes. And all things listenable.
Well, yeah, you listen to a ton of podcasts. You got into books, but
Yeah.
my question.
Right.
So I got a buddy. I got a best friend.
Yes.
Who decided I'm going to read the best books. Read through all the stuff that's supposedly the best stuff.
Well, I was an
he
English major and I hadn't even
hates
read it.
Jane Austen. He's read lots of the best stuff.
He should read.
He can't get into her.
He should read Jane Austen Game Theorist. Because I thought I wasn't going to like Austen because she's the teen stuff. I thought that was why I would be into it. It was going to be old hat and cliche. Mm-hmm. But if you read that Game Theorist book, which actually isn't very good, but it gives you a different...
If you read this bad book,
yeah,
it'll help you appreciate these
it's
good
true.
books. Okay.
It's true. It's a very bad book, but you put on this kind of behavioral economist lens, and then you can read the book from a different view.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, so I'm listening...
What's your favorite Austen?
no, not Pride and Prejudice.
Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah, how'd you know that?
It's everybody's favorite Austen.
Nuh-uh.
Pride and Prejudice is a lot of
everyone's
favorite.
is Pride and Prejudice. Or Emma.
Right.
I think Emma was the first one that she wrote and it sold, and then she didn't have the rights to it and really never made any money. Oh, no, Pride and Prejudice was the first one.
She's a woman.
Heyo.
Right.
I mean, that's what she wrote about.
Yeah.
being property
Right.
in a lot of ways. Yeah, Pride and Prejudice has been made and made and remade and made many times. It's got that real romantic hook, but so much of it has to do with societal rules and
Right.
the ridiculousness of what everybody's supposed to do. So, do you think that Clueless... I mean, it's not a faithful Emma,
No.
right?
And I think it's good just the way it is. I mean, I like
The
I like
beats are
learning
there.
about it later that it was from Emma.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And like the
It's not like, oh,
yeah.
the Othello basketball movie.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think, honestly, what makes this endearing to me and really, really likable are the Emma pieces, which are the matchmaker pieces.
Yeah.
And she's a matchmaker in the sense that she's doing it for her own ends, but it turns out she's really... And she's learning. I mean, she's young. She's sort of learning that, like, I'm doing this matchmaker stuff because it's going to help me with X, Y, and Z. But, like, through the course of the movie, I really feel like she learns that helping other people in this way is sort of my thing. And that's where I become happy. That's where, like, towards the end of the movie, where she's, like, getting all of her friends together and collecting stuff for the charity. It's
The
like...
Pismo Beach Relief.
Right. Where she's sort of figured out, like, okay, it's not getting good grades or
Or arguing
finding
for the best grades.
having the best, clothes or whatever. It's this other thing that I'm good at, and it sort of completes me. But it also it has to do with other people, and it doesn't bang you over the head with that. Like, that stuff is there, but you could ignore it if you want.
Yeah.
You could just think it's just high school politics.
Right.
Like social politics. You wouldn't think it. And then you think about Austen and all of her protagonists and like thinking about it in that context, it makes sense that it would have to be some kind of stratified situation, but to make it relatable to today, it's easy to put it you can see how all the
clicks and
yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing is, if you were going to make Austen now, it is almost impossible to make it adults. But in high school, the rules of the cliques are sort of ridiculous.
Yes.
And the things that you have
And
to
the rules
do
of
and
the late 1800s
are ridiculous. But we've transcended those to a certain extent, but maybe not in high school.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's like the simplest example of that is, like, she's like, I can't see myself getting together with a high school boy.
Right.
Right? And so she already feels like she exists outside this social
And that's the same as
structure.
Emma felt the same too. She felt very, taking care of her father. Mm-hmm. Couldn't dream of, in that situation, couldn't dream of being anyone else because of her father, in a way. Felt like this really, like, loyal kind of allegiance to dad. Mm-hmm. And this time when I watched it, I was thinking how funny the dad was, and I don't remember him being that funny, and that kind of, I can't remember if this was in Emma too, but him kind of being the matchmaker after all along, keeping the stepson
Right.
around why?
Right.
Because he liked him for her.
Well, and I feel like, so...
Ex-stepson.
One of the things that...
That's a funny line where he's like, you divorced the wife.
No.
Don't divorce the
kid."
child.
Yeah.
But I was very impressed with...
He was so funny.
Yeah, this time
I
seeing...
thought it was
like,
so funny.
there's-
Brittany Murphy sitting there
R.I.P.
in the seat.
R.I.P.
In the seat. Get out of my chair. We're going to have a nice family dinner. Cell
Yeah,
phones down.
we're going to have a good family time. Get the hell out of my... Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
It was so much funnier.
Dan Hedaya.
Yeah.
And then Wallace Shawn in a
Yep.
great like pretty prominent role, both those guys. Like, and they really
He's hilarious.
they
too.
could have
Which one is that guy?
He's the teacher. And
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Hall.
His reaction when
Is
Breckin
that
Meyer
the same
comes up
Bueller
to
guy?
take
It's not
up
the
the-
same. Ben Stein is.
No,
He's the
Walshon.
Princess
guy.
Bride guy. The
Oh.
yeah,
And start a land war.
iocane powder.
Yeah, exactly. Or I know that you
He's
know
great.
that I would.
Mr. Hall.
But they this is the thing with this movie. They start off as like Dan Hedaya.
That's how I always heard it.
He starts off as being sort of this brusque lawyer sort of stereotype, but as the movie goes along, you really know there's like layer after layer underneath him, and they allow that character to sort of evolve. And same with Mr. Hall and the other teachers is like they're these lame teachers with stupid fashion sense, whatever. But like by the end of the movie, they're important people in
Yeah.
the plot. Like,
She's a bridesmaid.
yeah, she doesn't. It's interesting. I thought the most interesting thing about this was it's the Beverly Hills rich kids fashion thing.
Yep.
And the easiest thing in the world would be to just do sort of like a airplane, Naked Gun, like making fun of how rich they are and how out of touch with reality they are. And they do a bit of that, but like that's not where the movie's heart lies. Like it's like, well, what's her name?
It's like Valley Girl.
Dion, she's got that crazy
R.I.P.
hat.
Stacey Dash.
No,
Really?
she's just on Fox and Friends. So
Dead to me.
R.I.P. Stacey Dash's soul.
Right.
Anyway, she was 28 when they made this.
Oh, yeah.
Alicia Silverstone, Brittany Murphy were 18, and Stacey Dash was 28.
I was going to say, looking back, they did, watching it this time, it's like, wow, they did seem so young.
Yeah. They were, I mean, Alicia Silverstone made her
And Paul Rudd.
screen debut on The Wonder Years.
Okay.
Just 3 years before
Wow.
this. And she was 14 on the show.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was a little girl.
Crush.
The
or what?
Crush.
The Crush, yeah.
Yeah.
Blast from the Past. Was that a 90s movie?
was later.
Might have been. If it was very late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Brendan Fraser to complete the I'm a Guy from a Different Decade trilogy.
Yeah. Encino Man, Blast from the Past, and
Time
Tarzan.
from the
as
Atomic
soon
Future.
as he reads my screenplay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is called Man from the Future.
Man from the Past.
Oh, starring Brendan Fraser. Hunky past guy.
That's right. Because he was
That is 55.
stuck in. But that's what Blast from the Past was, right? He was stuck in a bomb shelter. Yeah.
With Christopher Walken
He was
and
born in a
Kathleen
bomb
Turner.
shelter.
Right.
Anyway, what were we
Clueless.
talking about?
Clueless.
The different characters, how
good
old they
point.
really were.
All right. So when did you first actually end up seeing this, Michelle?
I suppose in the summer, because, like it or not, I remember 5th graders, we were all on the playground reciting lines. As if, and flipping our hair.
Yeah. There are many times watching this movie this time, which I think I did see. I know I saw in the theater. I don't know if I've seen it between then and now.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been a while. But whenever she does the as if is not the punchline for me. This like guy with his pants hanging way below his waistline and everything puts his arm around him, and she shoves him so hard, like you're worried about his physical safety.
Right.
She shoves him like so hard, like no way are you
off
touching me. And that is really, really funny. And then she caps it off with the as if, but it's like she's defending herself. Like, you are gross. Do not touch me. That is really, really funny.
Mumbling, and she's so good.
Yeah. Gary, did you go see it that summer?
I don't remember seeing this in the theater.
Yeah.
But I probably saw it on cable.
It was definitely on cable a lot. And then there was a Clueless TV show version.
Yeah, there was.
So,
and Amy Heckerling was involved in that as well. Wrote and directed a lot of the episodes. Mm-hmm. And she was fine moving between film and TV. Like that was her jam. She did a lot of that. And still does, obviously. She might come back and make another great teen movie.
Yeah, she doesn't get hung up on, I'm a film director. So that's great.
I was so surprised at how much of the fashion started to look really familiar.
Yeah.
But at the same time, cheap for as, like, expensive as everything is supposed to be. Like, the kind of, like, furry things. It kind of looked like Claire's, you know, that store.
Oh, yep. Yeah, I know it. I'm not allowed there anymore.
Keychains.
Sorry.
There's, like, all that kind of stuff in there. Like, a lot of cheap stuff for as much as they were wealthy.
Well, I mean, I think that's the way haute couture works, right? There's these new ideas and they get rejected or accepted, and then if they get accepted, they're super expensive for a time, and then they sort of
Maybe.
filter
I don't think
down
so.
or don't.
Some of the stuff I don't think was ever... Like, some of those backpacks that were, like, really small and, like, dangly.
I don't know.
You don't remember?
There was some of it that was, like, super extreme. There was the part where Cher's at the mall and she has a purse that, like, you could literally fit, like, a pair of eyeglasses in. That's all it is. And that's there are parts where they are lampooning, like, making fun of them.
Yeah.
But I think most of the time the film really likes most of the characters that are on screen, which I think is my biggest thing that I took away from watching it this time, is that it's a likable movie with likable people. A lot of the conflict comes from misunderstandings or character development. There's some jerks, like Rolling with My Homies guy. I don't know. Yeah.
Which
Elton.
works
Yes.
because I was reading, that's the name in Emma. His name was still Elton.
Sir Elton.
But it still
Or
works too
wasn't
as a first name in this because
Cher.
Dion and
Dion.
Elton John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very clever.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
But the fact that she's trying to make somebody into something that she's not is the other sort of theme. Like, yeah, you want to help people, but you don't want to, like, transform them into something that they aren't. Like, not everybody is you. But then she learns through doing all that, I don't even know who I am. Like,
Right.
who do I love? Like, what is the point of being me? It's great. I think it's a really, really, really good teen movie. I mean, it is a teen comedy. Like, I will disagree with you. Like, it's a teen comedy, but it's a really good one.
You
like
would still say it's a teen comedy?
Yeah. Sure.
Disagree.
Okay. That's fine.
I thought I made such a cohesive argument.
Well, I think...
it's okay.
No, I think...
You think Silence of the Lambs is a horror film?
Well, I think if anybody in film land thinks that Clueless is not a teen comedy, please at me. But, like, I think that there's no shame in this fitting in that genre. Like, it takes place in high school.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's teens. Like, whatever.
I guess
But
I must
it's-
have some stigma with teen movies then.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
A teen movie's supposed to be.
I mean, if you think about
So you
what are
think
the
that
best
parody
ones,
film, not another teen movie, really sinned up Clueless?
They would not.
sure
That
they
wouldn't
would.
fit. If they were to... No, that wouldn't fit.
Okay.
No way.
I very strongly disagree. And the thing that you said there was a 90s became the teen movie to beat. I think the 80s was the pinnacle of the teen movie. 90s was like, it had some good teen movies, and by the 2000s and into the present, it's actually almost dead. It is not a film genre anymore, which is a shame, because I feel like it really can be used to explore some really kind of interesting things in society. And I mean, coming of age. It's weird that the teen movie, like the teen comedy, is not a thing that much anymore.
Twilight.
Yeah, but it's like yeah, you're right. It's like the YA
All of Taylor
thing.
Swift's first albums are
That's
all
not a
coming of
movie.
age.
I've been watching
They're
Taylor
like
Swift.
stories.
But they're not movies. But yeah, so there's the Hunger Games and Twilight but
Harry Potter.
yeah.
It's all
That
Bildungsroman. That's the genre.
But I feel like the coming of age thing works. Like there's the American Pie and Mean Girls and
Mean Girls is too
Easy A,
Yeah.
Juno. Like those things have happened in the past 10 years.
Right.
But I feel like
You
it's
think the-
petering out. Like it's not as common. And I think it's great. I think this particular
That's why
They-
Spider-Man: Homecoming was such a hit.
yeah, that was a great idea to
Yeah.
just say like we have to have another Marvel movie and no one wants another Marvel movie, so we won't make one. We'll make it a teen comedy.
Yeah.
And that's a good idea. Like Back to the Future, that's a teen comedy, but it's like
Really? I wouldn't
So
put that
much
as a
more.
teen comedy.
Mhm.
I wouldn't call that a teen comedy.
70% of it takes place in a high school.
But is that the only qualification to be a teen movie?
Well, it's also comedy and there's teens.
But I don't think that's. I don't know.
You think of it as a pejorative.
Yeah.
And I don't. That's the thing.
All right.
Ferris Bueller, Breakfast Club.
Yeah, those are.
Breakfast Club,
not
yeah,
a teen
teen
comedy.
movie. But Ferris Bueller, I would put on the same level with Clueless. I would put them in a different thing because they have more mass appeal. But I guess it's because I think teen movies are, in this pejorative sense.
I think what happened with John Hughes is he was one of the first to say, I'm going to make a movie with people between the ages of 15 and 18, and everybody's going to enjoy it. And
Yeah.
and so it transcended that.
I
and
see. Yeah.
It made the high school experience something that you could relate to even if you weren't in high school.
Right.
Even if you weren't 12 and hoping you could be. Like, it's
Right.
easy as pie to take 18-year-olds.
American Pie.
Yeah. Well, that would be on the list.
Yeah.
And that we haven't. That's 99, and so we probably should talk about that movie on a different podcast.
Or
But,
like a different day, right? Not tonight.
Right.
well, it just depends. I mean, I've got some Red Bull.
Okay.
Any parting thoughts about Clueless? I thought it was really good.
I think all the performances were very, yeah, I think that helped. Not only was it an enjoyable story, but everybody was very likable, like you said. You said that.
Yeah.
You
The
said it already.
screenplay. I think that was what my takeaway, at least watching it this time.
Smart.
It was very witty.
Yeah.
Biting wit.
I really liked Cher's expansive vocabulary.
Yes.
And she
This
used
is a
that.
really good school.
She like
Guys talk
used
like
her
adults.
big words as a weapon, and
Yeah.
you could tell that she did that. And then she explicitly taught Ty, like, you
Sporadically.
learn words, learn how to use them, like. But there were times where she like totally messed up, and it was just such a cute thing to see that she's not an adult yet. Like she's
Right.
pretty good at pretending to be an adult, but like she's not one. So like whenever the law partner like rips
Yeah.
her a new one, like that's not appropriate because she's
Right.
pretending to be an adult. She's not a real adult.
Right.
And that's where like the most tender moment happens, where Paul Rudd's character
Yeah.
is sort of
I
like
don't like that
protecting
scene.
her.
That rubbed me the wrong way this time.
On the
for some
stairs
reason.
or before that?
Especially before that. And yeah, the stairs, it did seem like for some reason disingenuous this time around. Maybe
for
I was still
me, I
thinking
thought
about
it
the
was
guy.
like super romantic. Because it was like there was nothing physical about the attraction that was going on. It was all like in the eyes and like the realization that like of what's going on. I thought it was very romantic. Like the development
it
of
was
the understanding.
romantic.
Like we both are slowly understanding that we love each other, but like it's all in like gestures and eyes and stuff.
Yeah. No, I get
thought it was
that.
it was very Jane Austen. 'Cause
Yes.
It wasn't about
That
physicality
is
at all.
true.
It was like, are we on the same page? I think we
Yeah.
might be. Yes, we are. And then like slowly, oh, we're on the same page. That's Jane Austen romance. Like
Right.
oh, we both like each other, and
have to
we
be
have
very
now
subtle.
finally figured that out. and that's the most romantic moment of any Jane Austen,
Yeah.
is like, I finally will admit to... But I think it's so cute that, like, the reason is because he's somebody she feels like
I guess
she
I'm
can...
thinking of that actor though, who was it was like way overacting, or it was
The
like,
lawyer guy?
Yeah, not that he
Yeah.
was necessarily overreacting. I guess he was supposed to, but at the same time, it was like, you know exactly what's going on here, Josh.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like the stakes were this high, but I don't know. It was like a weird mismatch. So I don't know. I think they could have gone. That was like the part I didn't like about the movie.
Really? That one part?
Maybe just that one bit
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
I could overlook that. Did you like watching it, Carrie?
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Did you watch it alone?
Yeah. I had to watch it alone. So.
Maybe you should watch it with that special someone.
Right. I told her, I was like, hey, we gotta watch Clueless. She's like, hey, Game of Thrones, right? All right, we'll watch Game of Thrones.
So 4 stars would be like a movie that you put in the Hall of Fame of movies.
Okay.
3 stars would be like, this is a movie you want to make sure that you recommend to a friend at least once. 2 stars is like, I might rewatch that, but if I don't, no big whoop. 1 star is like, halfway through the movie, you're like, I'm going to bed. So that's the 4-star
I
system.
never go to bed. Once I commit to a movie, I commit.
I
I've
appreciate that.
only left a movie like once or twice. Ever.
Ooh, in the theater?
Once I left it in the theater, but like at home, only like once I turned it off.
What's the movie you left in the theater?
War of the Worlds. It was too scary.
The Spielberg one?
With Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
I did not like that at all.
Because it was too scary. Okay. So you don't like scary movies. Gary, have you ever walked out on a film in the theater?
No. I think I wanted to walk out on Transformers, but...
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
I walked out on There's Something About Mary.
Oh, really?
That's a 90s movie, isn't it?
Yeah. I went to see it with a friend of the show, Alicia Spiegel, and a group of friends. It got to the point where it was just like, I felt like it was just mean and gross.
Yeah.
And I was
Chris
like,
Elliott's pretty gross in there.
I'm gonna go play video games in the lobby, and y'all can meet me out there in an hour. And just Farrelly Brothers, I just dropped them like a rock at that moment. But that's the only movie I've ever walked out on in the theater. Like, I paid like $7, man. In 1997. Like, that was big money for me, but I was like, no thank you. That's weird. Too scary, huh? War of the Worlds, huh?
For some reason, I was...
Yeah, I got a playlist
Not
of
okay
movies
with
you
that.
need to watch if that's too scary.
I hate scary movies. I hate it. And whenever there's something bad, I have to know the outcome of the movie. All right, just tell me who's going to die. I just want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be surprised.
You don't like suspense.
I hate it. Like, Meet the Fockers,
Yeah.
I hated that.
Right. Because Barbara Streisand. What the hell?
Not that. No. Meet the Fockers was good. The other one. The one
Meet
before
the
that.
Feebles?
Meet the
Meet the
Parents.
Parents.
Oh,
Yeah.
Meet the Feebles.
Yeah.
Is Peter Jackson puppet.
Meet the
Yeah.
Parents was so painful. I just
Yeah.
hated the suspense. It was like really anxiety provoking. But Meet the Fockers was awesome.
Meet the Parents I can't handle because is it his wife or soon to be wife?
Soon to be
Soon
wife.
to be
His-
fiance. They were engaged.
Yeah.
His fiance's
That's why they're there.
ex-boyfriend is Owen Wilson, and she has this thing where she's like, wow. No, she has this thing where she's like, it was nothing. It was just like a big physical sex thing. And then he has to be around him in like parts of the movie. I'm like, I don't like this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is mean to me and people like me who have never had any physical stupid sex thing with anyone, doesn't understand what that means. Anyway, wow. Wow, I'm Owen Wilson. I had a stupid sex
Yeah,
thing.
Owen Wilson's in
Wow.
that new Ben Stiller movie. It's nice to see that they're still friends.
Oh, yeah, after that thing where he slept with his fiance.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a movie.
That's a movie.
What are you talking about?
Ben Stiller being
Zoolander
Brad.
3?
No, being Brad.
I don't know anything
Being Brad.
Yeah, it's Mike White new film.
Hmm.
And
Well, at least it's not a Ben Stiller movie, which I don't think that's a good sign of quality anymore. Although there's moments of brilliance in that Vietnam movie. What was that called?
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Yep.
There's moments of brilliance, but that movie needed an editor.
Yeah.
Bad. All right.
So
on the 4-star system, Michelle.
Absolutely 4. It's a Hall of
Yeah.
Famer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it 3.
Okay. Explain yourself.
It's a great film. I would recommend it. I would maybe even go with 3.5, but I guess I just can't give it 4 stars, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I give it 3.5. I think that it's not like perfection.
Yeah.
But it's a little rugged around the edges, but I think that there's enough here that's like the thing that really wins me over is just sort of the winningness of everybody in it. Like
Everybody wins.
no, like everybody's just
Everybody
so
wins.
fresh-faced
my
and
brain
winning
impression.
and loving, and you're just a virgin who can't drive.
You're a virgin who can't drive. That was way harsh, Ty.
That was actually a really great moment where
Yeah.
Alicia Silverstone in her face, because the camera was right up in her face, and she's truly reacting to
Yeah.
that, and she's just like, wow, that's harsh.
I really liked whenever she's burning all the stuff that reminds her of Elton, and it's like the cassette single of Rolling with My Homies, and she's like, our song.
That's a callback too, because when they're in the cafeteria, or not that, but
Yeah.
the restaurant, she's like, oh,
Right.
that's our song.
Rolling with my homies. That's like his neurologic check on her. Are you okay? Do this thing with your hands. Rolling with my homies.
Ask her a question. She might have a concussion. What's 7 times 7? Stuff she knows!
That's pretty good. And you can tell she was, Ty was a little upset with that. Then she sits up and hits her head again.
That's what I mean by the biting wit. Like,
Yeah.
the screenplay itself, it really holds. Like, if you just read it on the page, I think it would hold.
It's funny, yeah. And these kids, it's a bunch of kids doing the dialogue, and it's still really funny. It's not like a bunch of comedians.
No, right.
And I think you're right. Like, the reactions are genuine, and I don't know. I think it's just nice that it's so sweet. Even the skateboarder guy, like the whole movie, he's just like, he really likes Ty. And that's who he is. He's a guy that really likes Ty, and then he doesn't smoke pot anymore at the end of the movie. Like, but he turns out he decides to be more of a skateboarder guy, but he still likes Ty a lot. Like, it's not complex. He's just a dude.
There's these steps. How many are
Like
there?
12?
Good guess.
Lucky guess. Yeah.
But I didn't get that joke for years.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some sex stuff, like you said, that is a little inappropriate.
Right.
But I do think it's implied enough that younger people wouldn't quite get it.
I didn't get it at all.
Like, her
It
virginity
just
went
Yeah.
from hypothetical or
To non-existent.
to non-existent.
after
Like,
the highway scene,
yeah.
which is
That's a
way
funny
funny.
scene. Yeah.
not funny when I saw it. I was scared.
That's like, you almost left the theater.
Almost left.
That's the action sequence of
Yeah.
the movie, where they get on the highway on accident. It's
Way funny in
endearing.
hindsight
It's
because
cute.
you're remembering your own trying
To
to
me,
drive.
when I saw it, it was like about kids that were just slightly older than me, and so I was like, "Oh, they think they're so cool, they're
You
so
were
pretty." Blah,
older
blah, blah.
than them.
No, I wasn't. I was 17, and they were 18.
No,
16.
They're 15.
They're learning to drive. They're 16.
Okay, but the actresses
Yeah.
were 18.
Their actresses are 18.
Anyway, now it's just a movie about children to me.
Sure.
And it's a very sweet movie about children at that age. Like you
I
can
don't
tell the director is like a maternal figure. Like whenever she said she met with Alicia Silverstone to cast her, she was just like, she was just so sweet and cute, and I just loved that she was just like it's got such a the movie itself has such a affinity for all the characters.
Yeah.
That you sort of feel that.
Well, because Clueless takes on this kind of, I guess, kind of brutal innocence and ignorance, I guess, in this kind of dumb blonde sense that they're playing up.
Right.
But there's that innocence part that prevails, and then you see that.
That's what's so great about it, I think. It would be so easy to be like, here's these rich girls that are super cynical and rich, and they have all this haute couture, and they don't care about anybody, and make a bunch of jokes that are sort of cynical about that. And they kind of go there, but then the rest of it is more like, oh, they're kids, and this is stuff they're going through that's a little more universal, which I think was a very smart move. I think a movie about like, oh, these rich kids have all this money would be so disposable and worthless. No, we would never review it on the podcast.
Right. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of My So-Called Podcast. Thanks for being on.
If you've made it this
Yeah,
far.
exactly. Michelle, thanks for being on another episode, or being on your first episode of My So-Called Podcast. You'll come back.
Thank you.
So, Eric, do you have anything you want to say?
Well, we're on the Facebook at My So-Called Podcast. We're on the Twitter at My So-Called Podcast.
My So-Called Pod.
My So-Called Pod. My So-Called Podcast at gmail.com. www.mysocalledpodcast. Rate us in iTunes.
Yeah, it's called Apple Music, Apple Podcast now.
Whatever.
Yep.
Stitcher.
We're not on Stitcher.
You're not on Stitcher?
No.
Spotify.
We're not on Spotify.
How do you get
Comedies.
on Stitcher?
You gotta
Okay.
submit something, and they
Really?
like Apple Podcast. I was able to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's be on it. And they're like, okay, but Stitcher will
Michelle
be like,
can help with this, right? She's got industry contacts.
I guess so. Alright.
Tell a friend.
we should hold a contest, like
Yeah.
a rate, get more reviews in iTunes podcast.
Oh, that's a good idea.
If you review, you should invite whoever reviews it can be on the show.
The next show. Well, we'll think about that. Next episode, we'll tell you more about this contest that's gestating. Thanks for being here, Michelle. I've been Eric Spiegel.
I'm still Gary Linton.
And we are My So-Called Podcast. Goodbye.